One of the options for the Nutcracker project is to create it on paper with traditional media, so paint, marker, colored pencil, oil, pastel, whatever you feel is appropriate. I am working on painting paper in case I do choose to paint it, but if you're not going to paint, you can work on just the regular paper. My Nutcracker is going to be oriented in a portrait orientation, so taller than it is wide, but just for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to fold and draw my artwork horizontally because we're going to break the Nutcracker into basic shapes. Begin by folding the bottom edge to your top edge, lining them up, and then putting a nice crease. You can draw with your regular pencil first, or you can go right ahead and start drawing with the softer graphite ebony pencils that we have here in school. If you are drawing with these first, please just make sure that you are drawing lightly in case you have to erase, because these do deposit quite a bit of graphite. To begin, I'm going to plot out where the Nutcracker's hat is going to go by putting a notch on the fold, and I'm going to plot out where the base of the Nutcracker goes by putting a notch on the other end. If I want to make my Nutcracker about equally tall from its torso to its legs, I can go ahead and mark off the center. I can also fold from right to left and make a crease and then unfold it so I know exactly where the center is. Okay, so I can put a little mark on that center crease line. You're going to map out the basic shapes of the Nutcracker. So we're going to give us a little bit of room for the hat. I'm going to start at the top of the head right about here. And then the bottom of the head, we're going to say, goes to about here. You can make the head bigger or smaller. The head is typically some kind of oval shape on a Nutcracker, especially in the more traditional models. So I'm going to lightly go over this, really lightly, because I don't want it to be permanent. I'm going to add features and details later. For my Nutcracker's hat, most of them are wearing some kind of military uniform. I can definitely give it that kind of hat. You can make it a chef's hat, a crown, whatever kind of hat you'd like to make. I'm going to go with the traditional hat. Again, keeping my marks nice and light and sketchy for now. The shoulders are going to slope down slightly. And this is going to taper or gradually get lower towards the crease. I'm going to connect. The flared lower part of the coat, or you could turn it into a skirt. I'm going to make a little belt first. Remember, you don't have to make a classical Nutcracker like the kind from Germany. You can make this a piece of pop art. You could turn it into a self-portrait Nutcracker. We're just drawing the basic shapes that most of them are created on. Most Nutcrackers are made out of wood, and they're made on a lathe. I'll draw one leg. You can use a ruler for things that would have straight lines. Give it a little bit of a gap so we can clearly see there are two legs. You could make the legs touch, just don't forget to draw a line on the crease. I'm going to draw the foot for my Nutcracker right about here. So I'm going to make the foot as though it's facing towards me, starting with a backwards C or an arc. Nice and light and sketchy. I'm going to connect. So I like making sketchy marks. That way I can take my eraser and erase the lines I don't end up wanting. Keeps it a little bit neater. If I were sketching with a regular pencil, this would have been much, much easier to erase my planning marks. But I do not regret starting with this darker pencil. Okay, so we've got the foot, the leg. You don't have to give your Nutcracker boots. I'm going to give mine nice tall boots. Make the shape pop out a little bit. This method works really well because Nutcrackers are made out of basic shapes and they are symmetrical, so they're generally the same on the left and the right. Occasionally their arms will be in different poses, so you can make that choice to have one arm holding an object if you would like. Okay, the platform, so I'm going to extend this line out a bit, give it a little friend. Make that an enclosed shape, and then if we're looking at this Nutcracker head on, I'm going to make a diagonal line for the side. It comes back so it looks like we're looking at a three-dimensional platform, and then it connects across. Okay, so far so good. Very basic shapes. We're going to draw the arms of your Nutcracker. They come off the top of the torso. We're going to say the sleeve is usually towards the bottom of the coat. If you made a longer coat or a skirt, don't go too far. I'm just going to connect there. I'm going to give my Nutcracker a hand, so it's an arc and a flat line. Put a little collar or cuff design on there. Usually they have epaulets, which are those fancy fringe pieces on military jackets. I think that might show up better with color, actually. So let's get that with color later. Okay, so we're just building from this basic shape. You can give the hat a brim by making an arc. You can give your Nutcracker eyes. You do need to give them eyes. They have eyebrows as well, and nose. Most Nutcrackers don't have ears, I was surprised to find. So you could leave the side of the head bald. You could decide your Nutcracker does need ears. I'm just going to create some hair. And the mouth. So here's what's weird about Nutcracker mouths when you really start to look at them. Because they were originally designed to actually crack nuts, it's in the name, their mouth sits on the line between their torso and their head. So the lower part is in the torso because that's what swings down to crack the nut. You can give it a mustache. Usually to disguise the hinge in here, you would have a beard or some kind of coat decoration. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this Nutcracker a beard. Okay. So once I've drawn my lines, I'm going to go over them with my ebony pencil to make them darker so that the transfer process will be easier. Keep in mind, this is only one of several choices that you have for this project. You do not have to use the transfer method. You don't have to use the traditional materials if you don't want to. I'm gonna go across, make it look like he has a little feather in his hat. Looks kind of like a Napoleonic soldier. Give his coat some razzle dazzle. If this is the bottom of his coat, we'll say it's open at the bottom. You are welcome, of course, to look up traditional and contemporary images of Nutcrackers. So historical examples, pop culture examples. Trace over all of our lines nice and dark. And if you transferred across and you decide, no, I want to add more detail, that's fine. You just fold it back up and make sure that your detail gets transferred across if that's appropriate to do so. Okay. Clean up my lines here. So now I'm going to fold my Nutcracker inside out. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to fold it so the design's on the inside. With the round end of a Sharpie, I'm going to hold my paper with my thumb and my finger, holding it steady so it doesn't wrinkle or fold or move. And I can see through my paper where my lines are, so I'm just going to apply pressure where my lines are, and it's going to transfer across. I'm going to time lapse the rest of this.